Good morning, everybody. I hope we are having an awesome Saturday. It is a kind of quiet Saturday here. There's been a lot of running around. I had the best donut this morning. There is a new donut shop that opened a couple months ago next door to one of my local quilt shops. They like the local quilt shop has been raving about them for a while, and I'm like, I can finally go try them because I got up early. And let me tell you, I got a maple bacon donut. It was delicious. But on the other hand of everything, the drink that I got, it was a green tea matcha or matcha green tea, something like that. It was really sweet. It tastes like it was sweetened with powdered sugar because you know how powdered sugar has that interesting flavor, distinct flavor. So, yeah, I was just like, that's a little sweet, but I can deal with it. Uh, yeah, they told me to, people at Gold Shop told me I need to try the strawberry shortcake donut. So I guess I'm going to have to go there and try that next time. Because you could only have so much sugar. I did Saturday Sampler this morning. I got to fact check the shop owner's daughter because she was doing Georgia facts, and she tried to say that there's more Vidalia onions that come from Georgia than anywhere else, and I'm sitting here thinking, that's kind of true because Vidalia onions are like champagne. If it's not from Vidalia, it's sweet onion. So, there's that. But I ignored that one because, that's a funky one. But then she tried to say that Georgia produces more peaches than anywhere else in the country. And I'm like, no, that's not right. It is South Carolina that produces more peaches than Georgia. So it is what it is. And it was kind of funny to, kind of mess with them and stuff. And yeah, so it's been a day. Who do we have in the chat? We have my friend Candace. Good morning, Candace. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Katie Crafts. Who says donuts and fabrics are a great way to start the weekend. Funny news, my weekend started Thursday because I had Thursday and Friday off. I got a whole bunch of cutting done. Still didn't get everything cut, but I do get a majority of the half square triangles cut for today. So I'm working on sewing the star blocks today. Good morning, Christina, who is asking where I am located. I am located just outside the metro Atlanta area, northwest of Atlanta. So, yeah, that's about as close. Or I'm located in my sewing. Yeah, that's it. So, as I said, we are working on the star blocks in Star Power. Are you not gonna focus, camera? Okay, whatever. Camera doesn't want to focus all the way. Yeah, it's a little crazy. The way that these star blocks are built through the magic of television, you create this unit, and we had to create a ton of these. And oops, I did not mean to hit the microphone. I apologize for that. I'm trying to get these on the design board real quick so I can show you how they will come together. Understanding that, this isn't an exact thing, but you put them together, you get a star, except they're supposed to be scrappy. So obviously all of these are going to be changed out for different fabrics. And I have horrible news, everybody. My sewing cam doesn't seem to be working right. When I switch to the sewing view, it looks like my lights are off. And as you see, my lights are on. My lights are on. I have no idea why. Don't know what happened. I try to come in here and like everything is at. Oh, wait. I fixed it. Okay. Not a sad news anymore, everybody. Oh, I had seen that it had gone dark for some reason. I had no idea why. And I spent the last 15 or 20 minutes trying to figure out what was going on, why it was dark. I could not figure anything out. And for some reason, I decided to go into the settings again just to confirm that I looked at everything, and I saw that the brightness was all the way down for this camera. Like I was trying to do things and I'm like, why is this not working? Why is this not working? Which means I got to refix my wire over here, but that's okay. We can now see me sewing. Christina says that she is in Missouri. Glad she found me. My dad's family is from Missouri. So that is pretty cool. We have a couple other, at least one other Missouri person in the sewing group that's going on. So it's great to find people all over. Kitty Krause says it was perfect for Halloween sewing. I should do that for Halloween sewing. That might be interesting. So speaking of the cameras, let me get back to this view. This camera, which you're looking at me, is a new camera. Last week, I updated my lighting on the sides. This week I had the front-facing camera changed out, and I'm hoping that as I do things are the correct color. Like my chair back here, that looks a lot closer to the correct color than it's supposed to be. I may have to do a little bit of color touch-up at some point, but I am excited that I can now say I have proper coloring in the setup. So yay, little help, little updates that are going on like that. When I got the camera installed, I put on my purple shirt that I had on last week. Well, I didn't put it on, I just held it up. And I'm like, oh look, it's no way, I have a different purple shirt. That's what I was wearing. And I was like, oh look, everything is the proper colors. So with the blocks, I know I am just scrolling this morning. With the blocks, I have laid everything out. And I'm going to do one block at first, and then we will start chain sewing the rest of them. And it gets laid out like this. You have our accent piece here, and then you have 2 half square triangles and a square from the same fabrics. I'm sure if you wanted to scrap everything up, you could. The pattern says we're doing everything with the same fabrics. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn on my iron, and the way that I have everything laid out, I can basically chain sew all of these pieces. I've only got half of the half square triangles cut because, as I mentioned last week or the week before, the half square triangles are coming from a strip tube, and I spent a lot of Thursday and Friday just just cutting strip tubes. And then procrastination. There was a lot of procrastination that I did over those 2 days as well. Otherwise, I would have had it all cut, because I have cut the entire thing out of the strip tubes in a single day before. It was a horrible day. My back hurt bad afterwards, but I was able to do it once in a single day. And then I know 2 years ago today, I was working on half square triangles because I looked at my time hop. I cried for a little bit and everything because 2 years ago today is when I lost my Jessie, my cute little kitty. So I was, I was in here cutting triangles when the vet called me and basically said, we can't do anything. That I could have brought him to the emergency vet and they could have probably kept him alive for a couple more days, but we think that it was cancer that just got too far. And I was like, I can't torture him with that. So yeah, I'm I woke up sad, but I still celebrate him every time I can. Good morning, Joydy, who says, good morning, Russ in chat. Wavy hand face, coffee. And I am alternating what I'm doing for like this pile and this pile because that way everything is webbed together. And when they are webbed together, it means I have less to think about because the more you think, the more you're apt to make a mistake. And the way that I have these pressed, I have the accents pressed to the white, and then I have the colors pressed towards the color. And that helps make things nest just a little bit better where they need to be nest. And it's all about making sure you have the pattern correct. Don't ask me how I know, but I did so basically all of these at some point in the past wrong. And I had to unstitch every single one of them. I laughed hysterically because it brought a story full circle. Okay, so I am pulling off all but the last one. Good morning, Stitching Life Together, Amanda, who says, hello, chat, happy Stitching Saturday. With my new setup, I could also say thank you, Amanda, for subscribing, because it's telling me you just subscribed a couple minutes ago, and you probably subscribed because you wanted to say hi in chat. So thank you for subscribing. I am trying to get up to 1,500 subscribers. Before like Christmas, hopefully, and I'm going to be doing a giveaway when I get up there. So the way that I have learned to press these, and this is just so that everything is going to nest with the alternating block as well, based on the way that I press the alternating block. So this is only because I press the alternating block one way. You'll have to go back to see how I press that. I will press this block towards the solid square and towards the accent fabric, just so that they nest together perfectly. And then I can, since I still have them stitched together, what do you mean I can give you Riley? What said I was going to give anybody Riley? So, because I never trimmed a thread between these, I can just fold these and make sure that I am stitching on the direction or on the side that has everything stitched, webbed together. And normally, when I'm doing a lot of these blocks, I will trim this little loop that's there. But because I am not spinning these seams, I am pressing this direction to one side. There's no need to cut that thread. And I'll pull this last one off. And again, I'm pressing everything towards the square and towards the accent. Amanda says 1,500 would be amazing. She is reaching for 500 by the end of the year. Well, I'm going to have to remember to check out your channel when I'm done with this live. And then this one. Unfortunately, this pressing is not the greatest when it comes to everything properly nesting and sinking, because there's no way to do that with this block. So it does it the best it can. Catching, looking. Hi. And I'm just lining things up. It at least lets oh, look. I have this one pressed backwards. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Well, it kind of does. It's just, frustrating that, when you're pressing 336 half square triangles, one or two of them going the wrong direction is going to happen. Yes, I did say that there's 336 of these. But the good thing about if you pressed them the way that I pressed most of mine is the triangles will nest with each other. But, so this triangle and this triangle, when they're nesting, will nest together when we get to the seam. The only complaint I have is if this was pressed the other way, everything would be a little bit flatter in this seam, but that would have required too much thinking for me to figure out which way to press things, and then half these triangles would have to go the wrong direction. So, no, I decided I'm just doing that. And then I'm going to pull these off. Amanda says she missed the start. and is asking, what am I working on? So I am working on graduation quilts. The pattern is called Star Power from Cozy Quilt Designs. And it's a pretty easy pattern. And I say pretty easy in the fact that the initial cutting is very easy. The putting it all together is very easy. And the pattern is written really well. The part that I don't like is it is made with the strip tube ruler. And what that means is I am sitting here cutting out, or you cut two strips, put them together, and you sew the same end on both strips. So you make a tube. And then you are cutting your half square triangles from that using you can use a regular ruler, but you can also use the strip tube ruler or the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer or any of the other triangle rulers. And you're essentially doing two swipes and you're getting a perfect half square triangle. You should be trimming up your half square triangles in the end anyway, but it's a lot of cutting and everything is on the bias. So not quite as much of a fan of that. So I will be, rewriting it when I make my version of this quilt. But it is what it is with this version. 2 weeks ago, for you to go catch up on, Amanda, if you would like, I did the strip tubes. And then last week I made the 9-patch alternating blocks. And this week I am working on the star point units. And now that I got the 4 patches put together, I am again pressing towards the square. And the reason why I'm pressing towards the square is that will make everything nest really, really nice. And when I'm working on big blocks and connections, then I really need to making sure things nest really helps. So again, I have my 4 just to demonstrate that this is not how this block goes together, because you got to do a scrappy one. But it's going to go together with the accents in the center. And then the way that everything is pressed, this seam, scoot over, this seam is going this way. This seam is going this way. And then if I pull the accent block in, the accent blocks are going in. So these will nest with these perfectly. And this seam in the center doesn't matter because it doesn't line up with anything. So what I'm going to work on for the rest of our chit-chatting today, and then, eventually later as I join my friend Steven of the Idiot Quilters Pop-Up Sew Day, I am just going to be working on getting these sewn together. I have my pile here, which is only half of the blocks. There is another set of everything that needs to be I need to cut and put together. So I only have half of them cut and ready to sew. And every time that I grab a pile off of my pile, I am going to lay them out, make sure it matches my sample, because again, ask me how I know. I think I sold a whole bunch of them to look like this, which is another block. It's a valid block, and you can make something out of this, but that's not the look that I was intending. It needed to be this way because that's what the pattern says, and I was looking for something that looked like the pattern. You could have swapped them, and you have another block. Make something that looks completely different. Same fabrics. And the rest of that story is when I was taking I think it was my beginner quilt class, which I had already been quilting for a while, but they had a prerequisite that you take the beginner class before you can take the intermediate class. And I was like, whatever, I'll still learn something. I don't care. And I started chain sewing my blocks together, which is not something taught in the beginner class because the reason, and the instructor said, well, really what happened was somebody said, what is he doing and why? And the instructor goes, he is chain stitching, and it can help you go a little bit faster because you're doing the same thing over and over again, which gives you that memory muscle and everything else like that. But if you do it wrong, you're going to do it wrong 10 times, 20 times, however many blocks are in your quilt times. And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, I've already looked at everything. Everything's fine. Fast forward to 4 years ago now, and it's almost 4 years to the date because I've been looking at my time hop and I've seen me working on this pattern 4 years ago. I had them laid out wrong. I pushed them all through the sewing machine. And I can't remember if I did just this first half or if I actually made the full block. But by the time that I noticed, my heart sank because I was like, I did this many units and they're all wrong and I have to get my seam ripper out. And I was talking with a friend of mine and her heart sank because all she could hear was having to rip out this many pieces. And I'm just sitting here giggling because I'm like, you know, I was told that if you do something and you do it wrong and you just keep doing the same thing over again wrong, it's going to be a problem. And it finally caught up with me. And I still love that story. It is hilarious. I will bring that up any chance that I can just to say, you know, people are not perfect. Amanda is saying that's beautiful fabric. Thank you. It is one of the K facet lines. This pattern requires some number of fat quarters, obviously based on the size quilt you are planning on making. And I was at the local quilt shop trying to hunt down fabrics because when I initially pulled these out, I had 4 graduation quilts I needed to make. My sister, my sister's bestie, my niece, and my other niece. So 4 people graduating basically at the same time. So I was like, I need to get all the fabric, get them started as early as possible. And we see how that, I'm still working on them, just so that I knew that I was going to get them all done. And I saw the two, there's this colorway of this line and there's a slightly different colorway. And I was like, my 2 nieces who are sisters, I think that the 2 different colorways would be perfect for them. Just because of the way their personalities, and I picked different accent fabrics for both of them too, just because again their personalities are a little different. But I think the fabric is going to work perfectly. I found, at that same time, I found fabric for my sister's bestie, but I had not found the fabric for my sister. I ended up finding that a few months later. My sister and her bestie graduated this past May. My younger niece, she had to delay her graduation by a year. She was supposed to graduate this past May, but back about a year ago, sometime in August last year, she was doing some sort of a tumble in cheerleading, and she broke her foot. Like, she broke her foot so bad that my sister took a picture of the x-ray that had the arrow pointing to the break, and I was like, I didn't need that arrow. I can see the break from across the room. So yeah, it was kind of amusing, but she's like, she couldn't take the clinic hours, or she couldn't do the clinic hours, and she would only miss like a portion of them. But because she couldn't do the clinic hours, she was unable to take a she was unable to take the spring class, which is only available in spring. So she said, to heck with that, I'm going to double major. So she's graduating next year. And then my other niece, she decided that she doesn't want to finish now. And I'm like, okay, that's your decision. I can't judge you. That's your decision. But I can't give something to one niece and not the other. I could hear my grandmother yelling at me, you can't do that. So this is going to be the other nieces who's deciding that she doesn't want to finish at this time. She may go back later. But I'm like, if you go back later, you don't get another quilt. This is your graduation quilt. Good morning, Dubraka. How are you this morning? And I apologize, Julie. I missed you a minute ago. Good morning, my friend. I hope you're having an awesome day. Julie was trying to enable me some more yesterday. She sent me a message asking me which of the Art East Gray Line projects I ordered. And at first I was like, I don't think I ordered any. And then I started thinking, I'm like, wait, I did order something. So I opened up my account. The account wasn't working on the website for some reason. I couldn't get into my order history yesterday. I haven't tried again today. But I did find the email that said that I had ordered the puffins in the new Gray Line colorway. So I told Julie that and said, hey, this is what I ordered. I kind of want to get the bear too, but I need to calm my spending right now because I spent a little bit of money the other day, which was only half intended. And then, yeah, I'm like, I got to calm my stuff until at least January. Good morning, Sherry Yurton, my quilting world. How are you today? Who says good morning? She's sewing and listening in. Good morning, Charlotte. Good morning, my friend Steven, who is popping in and popping out just to say hi. He is running a pop-up sew day, which I mentioned a few minutes ago. And what Steven, the Idiot Quilter's pop-up sew day is It's a Zoom event, so it's not broadcast to YouTube. He does have a YouTube channel, but he does not broadcast his pop-up so days into the to the world, because a lot of people don't want to be broadcast to the world, and I don't blame them. So it's a private Zoom. It's free for anybody to join. All you have to do is just go to his channel, look at his most recent video or two, and there is a link to his pop-up so day. New people are always welcome. So I'll be joining there after this so I can work on getting, the rest of these units done, and hopefully get the rest of the remaining 160 something half square triangles cut out. Nikki is saying, good afternoon. What do I think of the new Brother machines? I do not have an opinion on anything new. Mostly because I don't, I don't look at all of the new machines and say, ooh, I want that. Ooh, I want that. I got to have that. I have this machine, which works perfectly for my use. It does everything that I want it to do. Okay, it does everything but one thing that I want it to do. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. My opinion is, if you have a machine that does everything that you want to do, there's no need to upgrade. I don't care what kind of bells and whistles it has. If you love your machine, there is no need to spend money to buy a new machine. If your machine is giving you angst and you've tried to bring it to like a spa day and stuff like that, and it still doesn't give you what you want, that is a good excuse to upgrade a machine. But again, only if it doesn't work. Is one machine better than the other? I don't know. I have no opinions if come on, I'm trying to. I have no opinions that say Brother is better than Janome, is better than Bernina, is better than any other machine. If you're looking to buy a new machine, then what I tell people is to figure out your budget and buy a machine that has the features you want that are in your budget. Don't go out of your budget, because that's how you get in trouble. It's kind of like buying a car, unfortunately, where you're like some dealerships will say, well, it has this, but if you go to this machine, you can do this. And I had somebody once trying to sell me, I knew in my head I wanted this machine that I got, and I wanted it for the reasons were it was compatible with all the feet that I had already bought, and it was a good size throat space down here, and it has a laser line, which I just realized you can't really see that well, but like right here you can see there's a laser line, and the laser line helps me with my FPP. FPP being foundation paper piecing. So I was like, I want this machine, which was the machine, it was a model at least 5 years old now. I don't know how old it was when I ended up buying it, but then, somebody was like, well, I have this machine. It's a Janome. I think it was a Janome. It was a not this machine. And they're trying to sell me on it by saying, you can fold your fabric in half to get 16 or 32 layers of fabric, and it goes through like butter. And I was like, that is awesome, fine and dandy, but I quilt. How often am I going to be going through 16 layers of fabric? And basically is like, this is the machine that I know I want. I don't know why you're trying to sell me on something else. So it basically is, you find the machine that you want with what you want. Also, if you're going to buy a machine, make sure you... This is another one of those rough ones. Make sure you get it from a local dealer, because your machine's going to need to be serviced at some point. And if you don't have any place local to service your machine, whether it be they just don't service your brand, or whatever other reasons, then you're out of luck for some stuff. So that is one thing, is make sure that you can, whatever you get, make sure you can get it serviced locally. And a lot of quilt shops, they have connections to some servicers. Some may or may not be for warranty coverage from your machine. Like if you buy a Brother and you take it to a dealership who can service it, but they're not Brother certified, they'll service it, but if you have to have warranty repair, you voided your warranty. So there's a lot of ups and downs for it, but so that's why I'm like, just make sure you get a machine that is serviceable in your area without voiding your warranty. Stephen posted his link to the pop-up sew day. Thank you, Stephen. Amanda's asking, does he do it monthly? And Stephen says about once a month, but not on a regular basis. I also host... I'm trying to make sure I don't grab too much. I host a Zoom as well. That's roughly once a month, called Sewing Shenanigans, which is very much like Steven's Sew Days, except mine are hosted on Sundays. His are hosted on Saturdays. And that's about the only major difference. So we try to have fun. We get a lot of people in them. And we sew, we chit chat, we've enabled people. So if you can't make his, you could try to always make mine. I hosted my most recent one last weekend. And I haven't decided my next date, because again, they just happen whenever I feel like it. And, I can convince myself to do something a week in advance. I do tell when I'm hosting mine, what I normally do is I will send out an email to folks on my mailing list on a Sunday, the Sunday before, saying, hey, look, I am planning on doing it. So people on my mailing list are the first to know. If you want to be on my mailing list, all you have to do is just shoot me an email, and my email is in the description box below. And then on my Wednesday vlog, I will say, hey, look, I'm hosting a Sewing Shenanigans on this coming Sunday. So that ends up coming out on the Wednesday. So anybody who's not on my mailing list does get a few day notice. And then on Saturdays, I will talk about it also on my live. And I send a reminder email on Saturdays as well, just to make sure everybody knows that it's coming up. And again, mine are free as well, just like Steven's. There are no prerequisites for you joining, except that you be on camera, you know how to use Zoom, and you know how to mute and unmute yourself, and how to set your name, because it gets frustrating when somebody comes in as Samsung Galaxy and we're like, that's not your name. I don't know who you are. The last sewing shenanigans that I hosted, I think it was the last one. My friend Candace ended up enabling me to buy this book, which is called Alice's Wonderland Sampler Quilt. So yeah, we do enable people. You're not required to buy anything, but we will, say, hey, look what I found. And it's like, ooh, I kind of want that. Good morning, Brian. How are you today? I hope you're having an awesome day as well. Good morning, Jackie. How are you? How is the Phoenix weather treating you? I think you're in Phoenix. If you're not Phoenix, you're somewhere in Arizona. Amanda says she's an enabler too. Oh no. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. All I'm saying is we have a lot of people who enjoy enabling. Amanda's asking how she can join my email list. The easiest way is to send me an email. My email is in the description below. Or if you can type it out really quick, it's quiltmeetsworld@gmail.com. But again, description below is the easiest way to see it. And you just say, hey, I want to be on your email list. And I will add you to the email list. I don't send confirmations that says you've been added. I just, add you. So if you have added to the email list and you haven't got an email, check your spam. But yeah, I add everybody who does it. I need to get a more automated fashion to join my email list. I just haven't had time to develop my website. So there's no website yet. There will be one day, and I think it's going to be sometime after I get the graduation quilts, because the graduation quilts are my last known deadline. I have this one and another one. The other one I found almost all the triangles for that I cut out, like I said, 2 years ago. So I'm working on getting those put together and stuff. And I need to have them done with enough time for them to be quilted, because they are too large for my long arm. I've only got an 8-foot frame on my long arm, and these are queen size quilts. I make a queen size quilt for college graduation because it gives you a quilt to move out with, move out onto your own with. When I finished college, actually it was when I finished high school, I basically was mostly out on my own. I did come home for summer vacation for 2 of the 3 summers in college. But after college was over, I was out on my own because I was living and working out in the Boston area. And, you know, it would have been nice to have something that fit my new size bed because of that. College or high school graduations gets a twin size because it gives you a quilt that would fit your dorm room bed. And I've next to decided that these are the last of this pattern that I'm going to be making for college graduations. Amanda says it is her responsibility to share cool quilty things with her quilty friends. I second that emotion. Good morning, Jen, who says finally got in at the end. Set your alarm or no. People get in when they're able to get in, and there's a replay option because, you know, not everybody can be here at the start. Jackie's in Chandler, Phoenix metro area, and weather's cooling down a bit. 106 is not cooling down. I'm sorry. I understand it's cooling down to the like 600 degrees that you had over the summer, but that is not cool. And I have a friend who used to live in Phoenix, so I have been basically anything that's Phoenix Metro, I call Phoenix, whether it be Chandler or Scottsdale or Surprise or Mesa and that, just because there is no, like, it's here in Georgia, you'll have a metro area, then you'll have a space of trees and trees and trees. Then you have a little another metro area. Then you have trees, then metro area and trees while we're still in the metro area. So, you know, like Atlanta has its stuff, and then you have trees, and you have Buckhead, then you have trees, and you have like Sandy Springs or Marietta, then you have trees. You don't have that in Phoenix, and I understand the reason why is because the water infrastructure. You have to be able to get water to people who, you know, want to live places. So you're not going to have spaces in between your city, your metros in Phoenix. And it just really confused me. Ingrid says must share everything. I mean, yes. There's a reason why, you know, I have to share all this stuff. And 99.9% of the time, it's not because I get anything out of it. It's always, you know, it's fun to show and fun to do. Like my purchases on Thursday, which I will be sharing in my vlog. Some of it was because it's for a project. And then some of it was, I just really needed that. I mean, wanted that. Jackie says it's currently 89 at 8:50 a.m. Then I won't tell you that it is currently, according to my computer, it thinks that it is 82 at 11:55 a.m. But, you know, our humidity level is probably at like 80% right now. Because it has been very muggy. Actually, it's been rainy the past few days. But I am not complaining because, what was it, a week ago or so? It was low 80s, high 70s, low 80s in August. I am not complaining about 80s in August. I don't care if it was rainy most of the time for that. If I don't go outside and instantly start sweating, that's a good day. And I just keep pulling these off of a pile over here, which the pile has shrunk immensely. And I'm pulling them off in the groups of 4 because these are the way that it's made, these are half of each pile. Like I said, these units that I'm making today are only half of the star block units. I am undecided if I am going to be working on the other half of the star block units next week, or if I'm going to get a chance to, what is the term? Get the rest of the triangle cut and sewn this week, and then I would be putting everything together next week into the star blocks. So don't know what's going to happen. We'll find out together next week, because I do these lives by the seat of my pants half the time. Usually by the time Wednesday comes, I have an idea of what I want to do, but it doesn't usually get solidified until Friday. Ingrid says it's about sharing our excitement. She said a good friend started quilting, and she sends her links every day to check out cool stuff now. That is awesome, Ingrid. It's always fun to enable people, as long as your friend knows they don't have to buy everything. And I know, Ingrid, you're not the kind of person to be telling somebody that they have to buy this, they have to buy that. But as we all know, sometimes it's worth it to buy certain things. The tools and stuff. I've gotten a few things that were considered optional tools, but they have made my life so much easier. And then I've had a few things that everybody's like, oh, you need to get this, you need to get this. And I'm like, I never touch it. Like, I have it. I don't use it. Or if I do use it, I don't necessarily use it for its purpose. Amanda says it's mid-80s in northeastern Indiana today. Storm potential. Doesn't matter, as she's not leaving her sewing studio. That is one thing that I do like to say is, if it's a rainy day, I just say it's a gorgeous day, because I don't have to be out in it. And even if I do have to go outside in it to do errands and stuff, I'm like, it's a day. I can't control the weather, so I just enjoy every day as it is. It surprises my coworkers, because here in Atlanta, if it rains, you're going to at least add, 20 to 30% onto your commute time, if not double it, because people forget how to drive in the rain. And I've had coworkers be like, how are you not stressed out when you get here, or how are you not stressed out when you get home? And I'm like, I can't control the weather. I can't control other people driving, but I can control how I react to everything. And if I'm just like, it is what it is, then I am not going to be going crazy about everything. So we have hit noon. I have gotten my pile down to this much. So that's about 8 or 9 more units, I think. and then I'm just gonna pull everything off, split them into twos, and press, and then sew the units together. When I get those together, then I can finish cutting the rest of the half square triangles, see how far I get the rest of the weekend. But to get there, I need to, say goodbye to everybody. I will be hopping over to my friend Steven's pop-up sew day. Like I said, his link was posted earlier there. Or you can go to his channel. It's called The Idiot Quilter, and there's a link in the description box below this video to him. And you can look at his most recent videos, and there's a link that says Pop-Up Sew Day, and you can join it from there. So I hope everybody has an awesome rest of your day. Get some sewing done. Make sure you say hi to all of the people that are live that you like to watch. I am going to be visiting my neighbors in a little bit too, because they're abandoning me. But it is what it is. So they're having a little bit of a shindig. So I'll get to say hi to them and everything before they leave sometime in the next month or so. So have a great week. Make sure you tell everybody hi, and I shall see y'all later.